just fascinated by Denver's offseason. I think it's been terrific. They've infused a lot of youth and speed, obviously with Judy and KJ Hamler. Albert O was one of Drew Lock's favorite red zone targets at Missouri. He actually runs a little bit better maybe than Noah Fant. I don't know if he's going to get on the field, but I mean, Pat Shurmur is a little bit of a quarterback whisperer as well. So every single thing I feel like is in place for Drew Lock to continue to progress, obviously, elevate his game and settle in as a solid quarterback. But it always comes down, I guess, to mental with that kid, right? Because physically he's great. And we do have another new system here for Drew Lock. But your thoughts on Lock here in this environment in Denver?
Well, first of all, I thought Locke played well down the stretch last year when he got a chance to start. Had a bad game. I remember he had a bad game in the snow versus Kansas City, but I thought they actually did a good job. The previous staff did a good job of creating some opportunity throws for him. But they clearly had a plan going into this draft. And we can sit here and we can't judge it yet. And if it doesn't work, people say it was the wrong plan, of course, because then they'll have access to the results. But what they did is they wanted speed. They drafted Judy. They drafted KJ Hamler. So right now, they're as defined a receiving core as there is in the league. They've got a big X in Sutton. They've got a movement Z in Judy, and he's so good at that. They've got a pure slot in Hamler. They've got a lot of juice and a lot of speed. They've got Fan who can run. Albert O, I think the reason he got drafted in the 4th round is his tape leaves something to be desired, but the physical traits are there. So right now, John, they've got a lot to work with, and they're counting on Locke, to be a guy that they can define things for and create throws. And they've also got 2 backs who are very good receivers in Gordon and Lindsey. So this is a team that has a lot of weapons. They have a lot of skill set players. And I think their feeling is that they can really help Locke an awful lot with how they can structure and build their offense.
Graham Barfield, you don't pay a running back these days $8 million a year and not make him your bell cow, right? So Melvin Gordon and Shurmur tends to use one back in his history. Melvin Gordon locked in for 300 plus touches this year, Greg or Graham?
Yeah, you don't spend that much money in free agency on a back to not give him the ball. Just like stylistically and team building wise, John Lynch has wanted to have not John Lynch, but John Elway has wanted to have a foundation running back sort of like Melvin Gordon. And I think he's always viewed Philip Lindsay as kind of the change of pace guy, right? They tried to make Royce Freeman the early down grinder last year, and that didn't work out. Lindsey was the better back. This year, they go out and sign Melvin Gordon to a bunch of free agent money. Now, granted, free agent running back money is completely dried up as teams have quickly figured out that it's usually not smart to pay a running back a bunch of money in free agency. But that said, I mean, Melvin Gordon is going to be their starting back. And I wrote a little bit about this during free agency when Gordon signed, but Gordon is a much better receiver than Philip Lindsay. I think we view, Philip Lindsay as kind of the shifty pass catcher, and he has been. But Melvin Gordon, man, like since he left Wisconsin, has been one of the 5 or 6 best pass catching backs in the NFL. In terms of yards after contact, missed tackles forced, yards per route run, he's just a better receiver analytically than Lindsay, and on tape, I think that shows up too. So for Gordon this year, I mean, he's a 3rd round pick, John, like locked in 3rd round pick in redraft leagues. And you're at least getting, in my opinion, you're at least getting a back who's going to get 220 carries and 60 targets on an offense we're expecting that's going to be up and coming. I think it's a slam dunk pick as an RB2 in 3rd round, in the 3rd round of redraft leagues this year.
I took him in that NFFC draft, that 35 rounder, 3rd to last pick of round 2.